The impact of commercial use of neonicotinoids on Apis mellifera. Entomology 320, Section 700 by Grace Williams. Neonicotinoids were created in the 1980s to be used as neurotoxic insecticides, effectively killing any pest that consumes the chemical while leaving the plant unharmed. Pollinating insects such as Apis mellifera, the Western European honeybee, have no advantage against this toxic chemical that is quite literally named after the addictive and harmful chemical nicotine. The decline of feral worker bees in our world is prevalent, and chemicals such as neonicotinoids are a threat to colonies across America. My question is, how do neonicotinoids used in commercial agriculture impact feral Apis mellifera worker bees colony loss in America? The Western European honeybee, Apis mellifera, is a necessary pollinator to agricultural crops in America. These bees are responsible for pollinating upwards of $20 billion worth of crops every year in America. Since the 1980s, farmers have been using neonicotinoids to prevent pests from eating their crops. Once neonicotinoids are sprayed, managed and feral bees are put at risk as they are exposed to these toxic chemicals. Worker bees are very important to the hive as they forage for pollen and nectar to create honey and provide for the rest of the hive. Contaminated pollen and nectar are huge risks to feral worker bees. In this figure, we have graphs of the residue of the most common pesticides and their prevalence in honey and nectar. In the first graph, we see that insecticides and fungicides are at the highest levels of residue loads in pollen, and that their frequency can be very high. In the bottom graph, we can see that insecticides and fungicides are very commonly found in honey and nectar, but insecticides are majority of what is found, and their frequency can also be up to 65%. Neonicotinoids have been shown to weaken honeybee health, immunity, and decrease reproduction. As a neurotoxin, neonicotinoids target the nervous system of the honeybee, which diminishes bee health and directly contributes to colony loss. Since honeybees are social creatures, worker bees stay together, meaning that the hive will become contaminated in large numbers. Exposed bees will become weak and unable to join in on social activities. This leads to lower reproduction and colony loss. Feral worker bees will be exposed to multiple insecticides, fungicides, and herbicides in their lifetime. Pollinating insects are so important to the success of agriculture, although the downfall of honeybees may be due to contaminated crops. In this chart, we have a comparison of the sensitivity of honeybees and bumblebees. On the y-axis, we have bumblebees, and on the x-axis, we have honeybees, Apis mellifera. So it shows the percentage of insecticides of the lethal median dose of oral exposure and topical exposure. We see that there is a positive trend in the oral and the topical exposures in both bumblebees and honeybees. In Hungary, a study was conducted that Apis mellifera colonies had been continuously exposed to the neonicotinoids, and a 24% decrease in colonies occurred the following spring. The European Union banned neonicotinoids due to their effect on pollinating insects. Although the substance is still widely used across America, colony collapse disorder can be attributed to many things, and the prevalence of toxic insecticides may be one of them. Honeybee colonies have continued to decrease, and the use of pesticides is increasing across America. Traces of clothiniidin and thiamatoxin have been found in dead honeybees in America, and these chemicals are neonicotinoids. In this figure, we see the number of colonies in the millions in the United States and Canada. In the top graph, we can see that there's been a decrease since 1950 up until the 2010s. And in Canada, we can see there is a slight positive increase in colonies, and that in the US, they are mostly trending downwards. Commercial use of neonicotinoids is detrimental to the health of Apis mellifera and is responsible for colony loss in America. The United States needs to take action against the use of neonicotinoids if they want to continue having pollinating insects and flowering crops. The protection of feral worker bees needs to be taken seriously in order to rebuild the number of hives that once existed in the Americas. The impact of neonicotinoids on Apis mellifera is greatly significant to colony loss of honeybees in America. Earth's ecosystems depend on pollinating insects to thrive and provide for herbivores across the planet. As the number of colonies continue to decrease, not just in America, but worldwide, flowering crops will diminish and pollinating insects will cease to exist.